Hello and welcome to all of our Gold Learning viewers. I'm Fiona Lang Sharp, IBCLC and Director of Communications at Gold Learning. Well, it's my pleasure to be sitting down with Liz Brooks today, who's going to be speaking at our upcoming Gold Lactation Conference. Liz will be joining us live on Monday, the 23rd of April. You'll need to go to the website, of course, to check out your local time that she'll be with us, but you don't want to miss out on that opportunity as this is going to be a fabulous topic, although we could say it's going to be controversial, but we'll get into that in just a moment. She's going to be talking about, is teaching the same as marketing? Ethics and international code considerations when discussing bottle and teat use. Please welcome Liz Brooks. Welcome to the Gold platform here today, Liz.
Hi, Fiona, and hello, Gold attendees.
Mhm.
I am really excited to be back with Gold again this year.
Yes, and that's right. You've spoken with us before, and of course, we're big fans of yours here at Gold because you bring those topics, the ethics topics, and just make them dynamic for us. So much appreciated. But what I'd like
Thanks.
to do is have you reintroduce yourself for those that don't know you, Liz, and perhaps tell them what you're currently, where you currently live and what you're currently working on.
Happy to do that. I do a little bit of everything in lactation land. I am a lawyer by training and an IBCLC. I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the United States, and I have a private practice as an IBCLC. In that private practice, I do a bunch of different things. One is I see families clinically in a home visiting arrangement. I go to their homes. I also work as a per diem or every once in a while type IBCLC at one of our large hospitals in Philadelphia that is also a baby friendly designated hospital. I currently teach at a Pathway 2 approved program in Drexel University, which is based here in Philadelphia. And that's one of those fast track programs that has been approved by IBLCE and LARC to allow folks to get all of the classroom and didactic training they need and the varied clinical experience so that they can, within a 2 year window, successfully meet all of the requirements to sit the IBCLC exam. And the class that I teach in that program is Public Policy of Breastfeeding. I do a lot of work in advocacy and public policy. I currently sit on the board of the Human Milk Banking Association of North America, and I have in the past sat on the board of the United States Breastfeeding Committee, which is the US based National Breastfeeding Advocacy Organization, and the International Lactation Consultant Association, which is the professional association internationally for international board certified lactation consultants. So I enjoy reading, learning, doing, and participating in both leadership and bedside care and day to day support of breastfeeding families.
Wow, that's incredible. And of course, we were talking about this just a little earlier. If you want to know more details, you need to go to our website and see the full bio of what Liz is doing because not only that, but she volunteers her time as well, which is just incredible. I know that you've been part of many association and boards, and I know that you still work locally with your association and of course your
Hmm.
coalition there in Pennsylvania, which is amazing.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to talk, after learning a little bit more about you, Liz, I wanted to talk about your mentorship. And I know this is something that you and I have talked about over the years and how important it is to mentor those that are behind us. But what really inspires you to teach and mentor a future generation when some of the barriers and challenges that we've seen over time, isolated IBC lactation consultants in training and so forth and so on, and even those that have qualified. So, what really inspires you to be on that path?
Well, I guess it's just this basic core feeling I have that it's just not right. It ought to be easier for people who want to enter a field where they are helping breastfeeding families and chest feeding families to be able to get the training and clinical opportunities in order to sit the IBCLC exam or to meet the requirements of other breastfeeding helper programs. there's more than enough work to go around. There's more than enough families in need in every country of the world. And there's different challenges that different folks face depending on what's happening in their regions. And it makes me, uh, I have a long history professionally of being an advocate and a litigant, and it just annoys the heck out of me when I see a family that could be doing so much better, doing the simple thing of trying to meet their infant feeding goals if they just had a little bit of help from the systems around them. So, helping to build a bigger, better cadre of IBCLCs who can work within those systems in hospitals, home based care, teaching, and so on, just means that there will be more opportunity for families to get the help they need in a setting in which they need it. I enjoy teaching, and I enjoy the challenges of figuring out what's going to be the best way to start to tip dominoes so that we can get social change. So it could be something as small as changing the way the bylaws of an organization operates, or it could be something as big as trying to effectuate federal or state legislation in order to make it easier for families to get access to the care they need for breastfeeding support. So I suppose it's an offspring of my, long professional history of being an advocate and a cheerleader for those who need a voice. But I think it's because in our field of IBCLCing, we do see so many barriers of entry into the profession. And I'd like to see those barriers get knocked down.
Well, I'm certainly appreciative of the fact that you're wired that way because I think you do look at things from all different angles. And as I was listening to you talk about, where policy might need to be changed in order to continue to grow the field, it doesn't always happen for us. We look at one very narrow area, but you really have looked at many different and a global sort of overview of, well, what can happen sort of at the local level, national level, international level in order
Hmm.
to see those things change. So certainly appreciate that. And of course, some of that experience came out of you being on the International Lactation Consultant Association as well, which you were part of. How many years were you on there? Because I see that
I was on the
you were
board.
actually on the board for a long time,
Yeah,
right?
very long time. I was
Yeah.
president for 2 years, but the full number of years that I spent as a board member or in leadership at ILCA was 9 years, which is a long
Wow,
time.
that is a long time. That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Nine
All
years
right.
goes.
9 years is what? Sorry.
I was going to say 9 years over a span of 10 years. There was a one I call it a sabbatical year that I took
Right.
under the bylaws. I could not assume the presidency until I had been off the board for a year, and in keeping with precedent of those before me, I just took that sabbatical year, which was actually as somebody in leadership, it was a great way to be able to approach the 2 years that I was president with kind of a fresh start, fresh mind, fresh outlook.
Perfect. That's great. All right, so I want to move on to the topic at hand because I'm really very keen to hear what you're going to be saying about it. Of course, um, it is one of those topics that we don't talk enough about, and so I'm going to hand it over to you just in a moment here, and I would love to know what you're really hoping that the delegates will take away from this presentation.
I am hoping that delegates that come to my session will walk away from it without a fear of what the code is and how they can help breastfeeding and chest feeding families without violating the code. The code itself is a fairly simple document. I characterize it as nothing more than a subset of conflict of interest analysis to determine whether or not one, as an IBCLC or other health worker, is staying within the confines imagined by the code. However, it is also a big political um, issue because the the length and breadth of predatory marketing that the marketers whose products fall under the code are able to bring to bear is phenomenal and massive, and without question impacts the manner in which families approach their infant feeding goals. So the objectives of the code are fantastic. The need to curb predatory marketing that impact the decision making of new families is important. The role of lactation consultants and other health workers in participating in an appropriate curbing of that predatory marketing is absolutely appropriate. But we sometimes get on a high horse in our field and tend to start pointing fingers and what I call shame and blaming one another if we perceive our colleagues in the healthcare field to not be as attuned to their code obligations as we think they should be. The result is that people feel that they are being um, scolded for the manner in which they're trying to meet their code obligations as a health worker. And in fact, some people get scolded so vigorously that they just want to duck and run. And this is absolutely counterintuitive to what the code is asking us to do. If we've got health workers whom we are asking to be aware of the sensitivities involved with predatory marketing, and then when they dip their toe into that water, the first thing they do is get hurled a bunch of invective with how badly they're doing it and how much more they need to learn and everything that they're doing wrong. Wisely, they say, forget it. I'm not going to learn anything more about this because I don't want my colleagues to be bugging me about not knowing these things better. And ironically, then what happens is that the families for whom all of this matters, who are looking to get information, can't get the information they should be getting from their healthcare providers, and they turn to the very marketers whose behaviors we're trying to curtail. So
That's
what
right.
we want to do is create an environment in which health workers and IBCLCs will feel confident and comfortable in knowing everything they need to know about the code, confident and comfortable in knowing everything they have to know in order to teach families the safe use of products falling under the code. And the good news is that my 60-minute session at Gold is going to tell them how to do all of that stuff.
Wow. Well, that's good. I'll be happy to hear all of that. I think some of the things that you touched on is ultimately, it can be very overwhelming if someone is pointing the finger at you of something that you're teaching and then questioning what you're doing, and then eventually you just fall away from it. And at the end of
Precisely.
the day, yeah, at the end of the day, our families do suffer because we don't have the tools to provide to them, and then they just wander back to the places where we've been trying to, heed and keep them away from. So they become very vulnerable, and they're very vulnerable to start with, but they become
Yes,
even more vulnerable as they walk into sort of that minefield of things, which is very overwhelming for them. So this is
precisely.
fabulous. We need to
All
get
right.
back on track. We need to move forward with this and start looking at it as part of what, and it's supposed to be. I mean, it's supposed to be part of what we do, but I think that we've fallen away from it because there are so many disagreements in this area. We need some clarity. So I'm looking forward to hearing some of that from you. So thank you
Right.
so much. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it too, Leona. Thanks.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that's good. So we're going to wrap things up for today. Thank you so much to Liz Brooks for being with us here today.
Thank you.
And again, quick reminder, so Liz will be with us here live. You don't want to miss this session, Monday, the 23rd of April. And you can go to our website to check out all the local times that will be available to you. Now, if you can't make it on the day, of course, you can listen to the recording, always something that we do here at Gold for your convenience. So you'll have an opportunity, and then you'll be able to connect with her in the forums with all the other delegates and, of course, speakers that will be in there as well. Quick reminder that April 3rd is our kickoff date, and we're going to have a great day that day with our Laurel Wilson. She's going to be our opening keynote, and that is a free and open access. So I know you'll all want to come and join us for that session as well. Well, thank you again to Liz Brooks for being here with us today, and thank you to our listening audience. Bye bye for now, everyone.